Hello and welcome to our software engineering project. We are the gitGoblins. Get ready to learn all about our project. We did an IoT sensor monitor dashboard. It's a web application with a Python backend. We're using the Flask framework. Basically, our app just allows users to see data in a bunch of different ways, Australian weather data from between 2008 and 2017. They can interact with it. There's a couple different roles and visualizations, and we will show you all about it.
For our project, our database is in SQL. We use SQLite and Python to interact with our database. We have here a few different tables. We store each city, each user. We connect the city to users with user cities, and we have different instances of weather in the weather instance table. When the database is initialized, it is initialized from this CSV.
What's going on, guys? Chase with the gitGoblins. Let's get into the login features. First, we're going to run the app using Flask. Click the link it gives, and it's going to hit you with the login page. Now, since we don't have an account, we're going to register a new one with my brand new email. Throw in a password and my first name and last name. We're going to pick the nearest city to me and subscribe to the email list. Now this is going to register a new account in the database. Now it's going to redirect me to the login page where I can now use that account to log in. So if we do an invalid password, it's going to know that was invalid. And if we do an email that's not in the database, it's also going to hit you with an invalid. Now if we put in the correct email and password, click login, we'll find ourselves at the home page. This is the home dashboard. It'll display your home city attached to your account, as well as the weather summary of that city on the current day of June 24th, and it comes in dark mode.
All right, it's Eric here now talking about some of the features on the app. So first, we're going to get right on into this map up here, which will take a second to load. And if you'll see, it's a map of Australia. It is interactive. You can scroll around, and you got plenty of different icons. So you can notice that this southwestern portion of Australia was pretty sunny, but a little bit lower, it was rainy. And we have the option to change the date for some of these, so it changes the icons around. Let's say we want to go to 2010. We get all the new data for 2010. And then we can go from straight here. If we click on one of these icons, we can go to see the weather details for that city. Oh, and by the way, that map was made using Leaflet. So now that we're in the weather summary, we can see a lot more in-depth details about the weather for Cobar on March 24th, 2010, as that's the date we set on the map. We can see the wind, which has the arrow showing the direction it was most strongly blowing in, a lot more detail, and then a graph of the previous week's high and low temperatures. And on top of this, you'll notice we have this line saying our AI model will predict that it's not going to rain tomorrow. And this is because I used scikit-learn to create a random forest weather model to predict the rain for the following day. So if we go to March 25th, we can see that it did not rain on the March 25th, so the AI model was correct for that day. And then along with most of these icons, you can see this big icon here which shows the sun behind the cloud. That is for partly cloudy, and that's because it was the most prominent weather for this specific day.
Hey, it's Ian here. You might have noticed on the weather summary we have this little 7-day temperature graph. We also have lots of other graphs. They also look a little different in light mode, so I just want to show you that real quick. See, the color changes to match everything else. Also, this is what weather summary looks like in light mode. Let's go to graphs. So by default, it's going to show you the wind data for your home city over the year 2016 to 2017. This wind graph, basically how long the bar is, gives you the frequency of wind in this direction for the city, and then the color tells you the speed. So obviously in Sydney, from 2016 to 2017, it looks like most of their wind is to the west, and then more frequently it's at lower speeds of like 20 kilometers an hour. We can switch the city, see different cities or different time ranges. At Melbourne Airport, it always blows north. we can also, if we want, do some filtering. These graphs are interactive. We can click on a color to remove it from the graph. And so then we can see if we only want to see like 21 and higher, we can do that. So there's a bit of filtering there. There's also a temperature graph, which you already kind of saw on the weather summary. We can enter different date ranges for it. Let's just zoom in a little bit more to one that you can see better. And again, this graph is interactive. If you want, you can zoom in on like a specific little date range. You want to see what's happening where all these temperatures are so high. Then you can go hover over and look at the specific temperatures. You can also download the graph as a PNG if you want to keep it for some reason. And then we have a rain graph, which is pretty similar. Tells you the amount of rain over time. Now, all of these graphs are made with plotly.py in our backend. It says plotly.js because we're using that too. And plotly uses pandas, so we had to do a lot of work with pandas and plotly to get all this figured out in our Python backend, and then they pass it as this big SVG to our HTML files, and it renders it as an interactive thing, which is really nice. Also, this is what the graphs look like in dark mode. Rain graph, wind graph, temperature graph.
All right, so now we're going to go over the roles that this website has. So a regular user and the admin can access the settings, and from the settings you can update your email listing and your home city. So that'll update on the home page as well. So now they're from Newcastle. Now a admin can do everything a normal user can do, but they can also access the admin dashboard. And from the admin dashboard, the admin can choose to update weather data on a given city, just the highs and lows of that city. So we're going to update Sale to have a low of 3 and a high of 9. And that'll take you back to the weather summary page with the new data points inside the city.
All right, it's Joshua back from gitGoblins. Let's show you a bit about the alert system here. So here on the admin dashboard, you know what? Let's put this in light mode. Let's change it up. Perfect. So the admin can access the dashboard here, and the admin can send alerts for various different weather events. So here we have a weather event set for a high temperature alert on Christmas Day in 2012 for Adelaide. However, if something doesn't have weather data, then it will not send. Likewise here, if no one is subscribed to a specific city, so let's say Hobart here, it'll also say that there is no subscribers, an alert was not sent. So let's choose a city that has a subscriber here. So Sydney here. Let's say that Sydney is expecting high temperatures here. We can send the alert. It'll flash that the alert was sent, and let's check our temporary mail to see if we get it. And there it is. Weather alert for Sydney, high temperatures. We also have a few other alerts that we can choose from, such as a low temperature alert, high winds, and if there's rain.
Now, of course, we had to test all this stuff. So we had a couple different testing frameworks. We used PyTest to test all of our Python stuff. There's lots of tests for that, you can see here. We used Jest for our JavaScript tests. And then we also had a continuous integration with GitHub Actions. So every time a branch got pushed or pull requested, it would run all of our tests on a couple different platforms, make sure nothing broke. And also we would get a little coverage comment commented on our pull request.
And speaking of testing, we made sure to maintain our version control through pull requests on GitHub. Now you can see on this branch that it's gotten a review, and after the review, commits are made, then another review. And we try to do our best with all of the branches that have a similar feel to them, where they're getting reviewed by multiple people until everything passes, and then we merge them to the main. And with that, the dashboard controls all of our issues, so we can see where everybody's at, and we made sure to maintain a good practice on labeling every issue and describing what they're going to be. That's all from us. Logging out. Hugs and kisses. Goblins, kerblam.